Welcome back, folks. This weekend, you and the family have the opportunity to step back in time and experience the Wild West firsthand during Old Lincoln Days. The event features food, live music, a parade, and the centerpiece to the weekend, reenactments of Billy the Kid's famous escape.
There was a small exchange of gunfire between the regulators and the remaining deputies who had taken refuge in other houses around the town. One of the regulators, at least, we're not entirely sure who, most likely Jim French, was shot in the leg.
On the dusty streets of Lincoln in the spring of 1878, Billy the Kid, along with members of the Regulators gang, ambushed Sheriff William Brady.
He hit Brady multiple times, upwards of a dozen times, so he was clearly the primary target. They also hit and killed another one of his deputies, George Hinman, shot him in the neck.
3 years later, Billy was convicted of Murphy's murder and sentenced to hang. But before justice could be brought against the outlaw, he escaped from this courthouse, killing deputies Bob Ollinger and James Bell in the process. Several months later, Sheriff Pat Garrett gunned the Kid down near Fort Sumner, New Mexico. However, it was just the beginning of a legend that has endured decades of controversy and celebration.
Billy the Kid, for instance, he was not a well-known figure until almost, really a year before his death. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that New Mexico was changing. It had this stigma of being a lawless place, and that was changing. And Billy the Kid represented kind of the last vestige of that lawlessness.
One of the most prominent stages for this chapter of New Mexico history was Lincoln, whose streets are now much safer to tread as the Lincoln Historic Site, located some 30 miles east of Carrizozo.
Lincoln, New Mexico is consistently considered by experts across the country and the world to be one of the best preserved western frontier towns still in existence. And there's a whole host of reasons why that happened. But the buildings here, 85% of them, at least the foundations and the buildings themselves were here when Billy and Pat Garrett and others were walking the streets. Not much has changed in this town since 1881. Visitors
to the monument will find 17 structures and outbuildings, including the Tunstall store.
George Pepin, who ended up being the sheriff after William Brady, he was highly involved with the construction of it. He was a master builder. He built most of the town. The building itself was well made, 24-inch adobe walls. When it was first built, it had a flat roof and actually had crenellations on top, which basically, those kind of like square-looking little pieces on top of a castle where somebody can hide behind. Shutters on the outside. They have steel plates in between the wood. For extra protection, you can close up the windows.
Other buildings visitors can explore: the San Juan Mission Church, the Wortley Hotel, and the infamous courthouse, which saw the one-day trial, conviction, and death sentencing of the Kid.
The story of Lincoln, from its very beginning all the way up until after the Lincoln County War, is really the story of territorial New Mexico. So we can really utilize this space and this sense of space and these historic structures in this street to teach future generations about the history of New Mexico.
It's a place as steeped in history, folklore, and legend as you can get. A place where visitors can step back in time without the worry of gunslingers, caballeros, or allegedly corrupt long arms of the law at their backs. A place that exemplifies the complex history of our state.
Now, Old Lincoln Days kicks off tomorrow, runs through the 4th. If you want more information on this, just head over to NewMexicoLivingLocal.com.